What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, the markets reacted very well to what Jerome Powell had said today. Investors still feel very comfortable pumping their money into the markets. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened, why investors still feel comfortable, what they're going to be looking for the Fed not to make the same mistakes as they did a few years ago. And we are also going to talk about what happened with AMC. Let's get right into it. First off, this article pretty much explains everything in a nutshell. It says the Federal Reserve is looking to figure out a timeline for phasing out its $120 billion a month asset purchasing. And the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland president said that she wants to end the buying program by the middle of next year, which kind of gives investors a timeline. Okay, Jerome Powell has said that he thinks he wants it to begin at sometime at the end of this year. And if you're talking about ending in the middle of 2022, that's about 9 months. It's not going to happen too quickly. Anytime that the asset purchasing stops, the taper is too abrupt, that's when it could cause some fear in the market. Also, he did say that they are not in a hurry to begin raising interest rates thereafter. And as you can see, I have highlighted right here, stocks rose after he spoke while the dollar and treasury yields fell. So think about this comment right here, though it won't be in a hurry to begin raising interest rates thereafter. So the only time interest rates have been this insanely low was after what happened in the 2007, 2008, and 2009, okay, Great Recession. And a couple of the mistakes that the Fed made is they slowly raised interest rates from 2015 up to 2017. And then in 2018, they let things get a little bit carried away from them. So they needed to start raising interest rates quicker. And that's what caused the market to pull a little bit back because inflation was getting out of control. And as you can see at this chart here, at the beginning of 2018, where the S&P 500 was, and we pretty much stayed stagnant, decreased a little bit coming at the end of 2018 into 2019, and didn't really get back to a positive point for almost 2 years. So investors really want to make sure that the timeline is clear and the Federal Reserve knows that they cannot do anything too quickly, and really basically learning from the mistakes that had happened. Don't let inflation get out of control. Jerome Powell also, reaffirmed his position that inflation was going to be transitory. So you can take a look at what happened in the markets today. The S&P absolutely just ripped right off the beginning. You see this huge green candle coming at 10:02. As soon as some of the notes came out, they knew what Jerome Powell was going to say. Absolutely, markets just came ripping out of the gate. We did take a loss on our VIX calls. Yesterday, they were up. I closed out some of those and I re-added at a different position, a different date, and we did take a loss on those. But as I've said numerous times before, this is just a hedge position and it's okay to take a loss because the rest of my portfolio did really, really well. One thing I will point out, as I am still bullish for the S&P 500 and the entire market for the rest of the year, is it continues to do this uptrend back down to the 50. Something you want to pay attention to, especially as you continue to see these new time highs. We've gone over this before and you see it's about a 20 to 25 day span before the market tends to pull back a little bit. I am being much quicker with my positions now than I was back in January, December. And I was talking to a couple of people in the group today, kind of just explaining the reasonings why. Back after in 2020, I've said this before, my 3-year-old son could have picked the stock and it would have made money. Everything was just on an absolute tear. Nobody was losing at that point. And right now you're getting into a point where it is a little bit frothy. The market is still a little bit overextended. We are deeper into the second year of the bull run, and a correction on the S&P touching down 10% hasn't happened yet. So with that in mind, while I'm still bullish, my positions tend to be much quicker rather than going long for a longer period of time on. With that being said, let's take a quick look at the plays that we called out today. A couple of them were an absolute runner. One of the plays, which I will talk about later, was SPRT. And I said right at the beginning, be careful on this one. Okay, it can always go higher, but it can also rip on you, and it's okay not to FOMO because you are going to be buying a lotto ticket if you do. I did point out Neuro here at the bottom. I said look for that stair-stepping pattern, almost to follow something like SPRT. Had some really good gains on that one. Bill, I also saw gapping up after earnings yesterday. Never played this stock before. It was an absolute home run for plenty of people in the group. And then Sava was my big winner. I said I couldn't short it. It had a master gap down. I had also said that it needed to have something stand up for them, whether it's an analyst reaffirm. They came out with a PR state, kind of defending themselves, and basically the stock ripped after that. I took a good sized position, and that was my big winner of the day, especially because I wasn't able to short it as of yesterday. Let's talk about what happened with AMC, and I'm going to relate this to SPRT. So for all of you that have been watching my channel and we've covered the options chain, this is a huge reason why I say be careful with options, because these market makers are playing you. I had sent out a tweet talking about the 85, 90, 95, but I've also just talked about the options, especially when it comes to the stock. It is not friendly whatsoever. You can see some of these insane losses as of, you're just seeing the red right in front of you. But like I said, the market makers continue to play you. And I hope, if I know many of you are been totally burned and you're like, I'm not touching these options, but if you have, I really hope this is the last time, not just because it's AMC, but because this is not a setup at all to be able to play some options on. Let's take a look at what happened with the chart. Seemed to be pretty rocky going into it. The reason why I just said I'm going to come back to SPRT, and I said to be careful on this one. It ripped up pre-market. We saw a little bit of a bounce on here. I did take a very small position, something that I could have made a lot of money on, and I was in and out of it within 1 minute. Just got a couple bucks on it from my day trading account, and I decided to walk away. One thing I had some fear on with SPRT, with the amount of attention it was getting, was that people would be looking at AMC, seeing it was 48 bucks on Monday, and say to themselves, you know what, this thing isn't moving. It's sitting at 40. It's even going down. Come over here to look at SPRT, see it ripping and getting in at this point. If you got in at this point, this is why I say be careful, because it is already down in the matter of not even a couple hours. It is already down 50% from its all-time highs. If you are one of those individuals that bought this days ago, then bravo to you. I hope you absolutely crushed it. I always want everybody to make a lot of money, but I had called this out earlier and I said, don't FOMO into it, especially if you're not going to be playing a very, very, very quick play, because it can yank on you. I said this $5 downhaul yank. And if you look, like I said, as I'm making this video, this thing is just free falling. I do not know what is going to happen over the weekend into tomorrow, or into, I'm sorry guys, over the weekend into Monday. This thing very well could, have another leg up, or it could just continue its sell off and be absolutely done with it. Another thing to think about with this play as well is when the market makers let this rip, they want to pull you from your other long positions to get capital in order to play on this. So if that was one of their ploys, seeing a similar, group of people playing the same kind of stocks, that's what they do. We saw this happen to Clove, a while ago. I think there's a few other ones, but Clove was one of them. We see them. The market makers will tend to let this one rip, okay, in order to build some momentum and get you away from your core plays. So just keep that in mind. If you end up doing that, you're always going to end up chasing. If you ended up getting in on SPRT, like I said, at 36 at 11 o'clock, ripped it up and sold out, great for you. I'm happy for you. You absolutely crushed it and made a lot of money. So that's it for this video. I will continue to cover news over the weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.